I am Professor Jaikumar, working in Physics Department. In the Engineering Physics Lab 1, the first experiment is ultrasonic interferometer. So in this experiment, our aim is to determine the velocity of ultrasonics in the given liquid and also to determine the adiabatic compressibility of the liquid. So now coming to the ultrasonics, what are ultrasonics? Ultrasonics are sound waves. By any vibrating body, we can produce sound. It is a form of energy. When a body vibrates or completes one oscillation per second, then we say the body vibrates with a frequency of 1 Hertz. So any vibrating body produces sound, as I told you already. It is a form of energy. So if a body vibrates from 1 Hertz to 20 Hertz, then that sound energy which we cannot hear, we refer it as infrasonics, which we cannot hear. Please remember, when a body vibrates with a frequency 20 Hertz to 20 kilohertz, then we refer it as audio range, so which we can hear. All sound which we are able to enjoy are in the audio range, that is 20 to 20 kilohertz. If a body vibrates with a frequency above 20 kilohertz, then we refer it as ultrasonics. So ultrasonics, again, as I told you, though they are sound waves, because of high frequency greater than 20 kilohertz, we cannot also hear. So this range we refer it as ultrasonics. So these ultrasonics we are able to produce by 3 methods. One is by mechanical oscillator, the second one is magnetostrictive oscillator, the third one is piezoelectric oscillator. So mechanical oscillator is associated with any siren, the whistle, what we use in day-to-day life. That is again comes under siren. It is a mechanical oscillator. Using that too, we can produce ultrasonics. When you apply an alternating magnetic field on a ferromagnetic material like nickel, cobalt, then there is change in the dimension of this material. So the change in dimension makes the system to vibrate, and if these vibrations exceeds 20 kilohertz, then they are ultrasonics. The method is magnetostrictive method. And the third method is piezoelectric method, where you have piezoelectric crystals like quartz, tourmaline. These are 1 rupee like coin, a crystal over which when you apply an alternating electric field, the crystal starts changing in its dimension. There is a compression and elongation based on the polarity of the field which you apply on the top surface. So this crystal, if it is made to vibrate with a frequency above 20 kilohertz by applying an RF alternating voltage of high frequency more than 20 kilohertz, then this crystal produces ultrasonics. So this crystal, piezoelectric crystal, only we have in our experimental setup, which we are going to use to determine the velocity of ultrasonics. So as I told you already, aim of the experiment is to determine the velocity of ultrasonics in the given liquid. The liquid what we are going to take is kerosene. We can take the other liquids also like water or any other liquid we can take to know the velocity of ultrasonics in the medium. Now coming to the experimental setup, in the apparatus we have RF generator, as you see here, which produces high frequency alternating current more than 20 kilohertz. So it is an oscillator. Now coming to the experimental setup again, here what you see is the base over which we are going to keep the double wall cylinder, and in which we have the quartz crystal. So the double wall cylinder should be filled with the given liquid, and we have to fit it with the base. So there is an arrangement to fix it. So we have the liquid column as you see there, and now over this the double wall cylinder we have to fix the micrometer head wherein you have the reflector. So this is the reflector which has got a role in this experiment which we will see later on. So now we have to fix it so that the reflector should be within the liquid column. Okay, right. So this is the system which we refer to as ultrasonic interferometer. And now you have, as I told you, we have a quartz crystal inside the double walled cylinder and which is connected to the BNC probe as you see here. And this BNC probe should be connected to the RF generator. So this is the RF generator as you see, and here you have ultrasonic interferometer. What you have in ultrasonic interferometer? We have a double walled cylinder in which we have the liquid, and you have a quartz crystal which is made to vibrate with a frequency of 2 MHz by applying an alternating potential using an RF generator of the same frequency. So now above that you have the micrometer head, and to which we have attached a reflector, a metal plate which is parallel to the quartz crystal. Okay, now what we do in this experiment, see, first after connecting the BNC connector to the RF generator, we have to switch on the RF generator, and you can see the needle movement within the micrometer scale. So after having this reading, now there are two knobs that are available in the RF generator. One is the gain knob, the other one is adjust knob. The adjust knob is used to have the needle within the scale, within the micrometer, 0 to 100 microamperes. To have the needle within the scale, we use the adjust knob. And the gain knob we use to increase the sensitivity of the micrometer. To increase the sensitivity, we use this gain knob. So now having these two knobs, try to have the needle movement within the scale. That's what we need. One point you should remember, we are not going to use this microammeter to measure the current which we see here. Our objective is to know the movement of the needle, whether it has a maximum position while needle is moving to and fro, whether it is going to the maximum position and minimum position. The deflections position only we would like to know from this. So now the RF generator produces high frequency oscillating current, alternative voltage of 2 MHz, and that voltage when you apply on a quartz crystal which you have in the double walled cylinder wherein you have the liquid medium, and these ultrasonic waves are produced by a quartz crystal. As I told you, they are acoustic waves of high frequency and they are traveling within the liquid medium and start reaching the reflector which is attached to the micrometer head as you see there. So now the sound waves which are traveling, high frequency sound waves which are traveling from the quartz crystal and getting reflected from the reflector, they get superimposed. So now a stationary wave pattern is formed within the medium having nodes and antinodes. We have a reflector which is attached to the micrometer head. It is a screw cage where you have a pitch scale and head scale. So our objective is to know the position of the reflector. When it reaches the node, at that point we can get maximum anode current. So when the reflector reaches the antinode, you can see less anode current head. So before taking the readings in order to know the position of the reflector, we need to know how to take readings using micrometer or screw gauge. So as you see here in the micrometer, we have a pitch scale where you have, if you take 5 millimeters that are divided into 10 divisions. So 0 millimeter you can see the right side, left side, and 0.5 millimeter you can see on the right side. So 1 millimeter again left side and 1.5 millimeter on the right side of the vertical mark. So each division is given by 0.5 millimeter. Please remember that. Next, coming to the head scale, we have 50 divisions as you see here, 50 divisions. So while rotating the micrometer head, this cylindrical column also start moving, head scale also still getting rotated. So now this is the arrangement. So to first, as I told you, to take the readings using the micrometer, we need to know the least count. What is least count? Least count is given by the ratio of one pitch scale division divided by the number of divisions in the head scale. As you see that the pitch scale division, value of one pitch scale division is given by 0.5 mm. A number of divisions in the head scale, if you see 50 divisions, so then the least count is given by 0.01 millimeter.
In this portion of the video, I am going to explain how to record readings with the help of a micrometer. This is the micrometer. This is the pitch scale of the micrometer, and this is the head scale of the micrometer. So this is the microammeter. Here we are not going to use microammeter for recording readings. We are going to use only micrometer for recording readings. Okay. So here you can see a vertical line that is in the pitch scale. On either side of the vertical line, you can see major line and a minor line. You can see the graduations starting from 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, and above which there will be 25. The pitch scale reading starts from 0 to 25. All the units are in millimeter. Now here this head scale consists of 50 divisions, 0 to 50 divisions. First we have to fix the nth maxima. How to fix nth maxima? As we have explained in the video, within the double wall cylinder, within the liquid, there will be so many nodes and antinodes. Node corresponds to the maximum anode current and antinode corresponds to the minimum anode current. Now, if you rotate this micrometer, the needle in the micrometer will deflect. If it deflects towards the maximum reading, what does it mean? The reflector plate is moving towards the nodal point. Now it deflects in the opposite direction. What does it mean? From node, it moves to an antinode. In a stationary wave, there will be alternate regions of nodes and antinodes. Now listen carefully. I'm going to rotate this micrometer in clockwise direction. So there are two things you have to remember in this experiment. The first thing, to have or to record maximum set of readings, you have to place the head scale above 20 in the micrometer. This head scale should be placed above 20 mm in the micrometer. This is done to record maximum number, to take maximum number of readings. The other one is, till the end of the readings, you are supposed to take 14 readings. Till you complete 14 readings, you have to rotate the micrometer only in clockwise direction. At no point of time you should not rotate this micrometer in anti-clockwise direction. Now listen carefully. Observe the micrometer as well as the microammeter. I am rotating. You have to give the rotations very slowly. Can you see the deflection of the needle? The needle is deflecting from the minimum current and it is moving towards maxima. Just cross 60. So now it is turning back, is it not? So this position of the needle corresponds to nth maxima. This position of the needle corresponds to nth maxima. How will you record the reading for nth maxima? To record the reading for nth maxima, we have to come back again to this micrometer. Now you have to see the reading in the pitch scale. In the pitch scale, if you see, the head scale is about 20. Now we have to precisely find out whether it is 20 or 21 or 22. What is the reading, the correct reading? So now if you look at it, so this is 20, this small line is 20.5, this one is 21, this one is 21.5, and this is 22. So what does it mean? The head scale has crossed the 22nd division on the pitch scale. I repeat, the head scale, since you are rotating the head scale alone is moving. The head scale has crossed the 22nd reading on the pitch scale, which means the pitch scale reading in this particular case is 22. The pitch scale reading is 22. Now we have to record the head scale coincidence. What is head scale coincidence? The coincidence of the vertical line in the pitch scale with any one of the divisions in the head scale. In this case, can you see 0? This is 0. This is 1, 2, 3, and 4. So it has crossed 4. So the head scale coincidence in this example is 4. Now listen, I have drawn the magnified image of the micrometer on the board. So this is the pitch scale, this is the head scale. So this is how the graduations will be on the pitch scale. So this major line corresponds to 1 mm, this minor line corresponds to 0.5 mm. Okay. So let me explain the reading for the nth oscillation. Okay, in this example, as I already told you, this is the head scale and this is the pitch scale. So the head scale has crossed the 22nd division on the pitch scale. I repeat, the head scale has crossed the 22nd division on the pitch scale. So the pitch scale reading will be PSR will be 22. All units are in mm. All units are in mm. 22 millimeter. What is the next column in the target column? HSC, head scale coincidence. So next we have to find the head scale coincidence. So if you see over here, the coincidence of the vertical line on the pitch scale with any of the division on the head scale will give you the head scale coincidence. In this example, this vertical line on the pitch scale coincides with the fourth division on the head scale, and hence the head scale coincidence for nth oscillation is 4. Okay. Now you have to calculate total reading, TR. What is the formula to calculate total reading? TR is equal to PSR plus HSC into least count. Okay. Now total reading, TR1. So TR1 for nth oscillation is equal to PSR is 22 plus head scale coincidence is 4. The formulas, you have to multiply the head scale coincidence with least count 0.01. This is equal to 22 plus 0.04. What will be the value of TR1? TR1 is equal to 22.04 mm. So this is the total reading for nth oscillation. Now, what is the next step? We have to rotate the micrometer and fix the position for n plus third maxima. I'm rotating. So it is moving towards the minimum current from node to antinode. Again, it is moving towards node. So by doing so, we have completed one oscillation. Now rotate the micrometer in the same direction. Okay. Can you see? The needle is moving towards minimum current, that is an antinode. Now from there it is moving back to a nodal point. When it touches the nodal point, the current is maximum. We have completed 2 oscillation. Now we are doing for the third oscillation from node to antinode and again to node. Yes. Now stop rotating the micrometer and record the values in the pitch scale and the head scale. Since you are rotating the head scale, the reading in the pitch scale as well as the head scale coincidence will change for n plus third oscillation, n plus 3 oscillation. Now look at the main scale. You can see 20 and 20.5 and 21 and 21.5. It has crossed 21.5. So the head scale has crossed 21.5 in the pitch scale. Now record the value 21.5. Similarly, you have to record the head scale coincidence. The head scale coincidence in this example is 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. This vertical line has crossed the 8th division on the head scale. So the head scale coincidence in this example is 8. Okay. Now I'll tell you the calculation for n plus 3 oscillation or n plus third oscillation. Now since you have rotated the micrometer in the clockwise direction, the micrometer would have moved downwards. Now the position of the micrometer for n plus third oscillation is this. Now the head scale has crossed 21.5 mm on the pitch scale. In this example, the head scale has crossed, this is 21, the major line is 21. So 22 has crossed, earlier reading was 22. Since you are moving in clockwise direction, the micrometer will move downwards. 22 is not visible. So it has crossed 21.5. It has moved downwards. So it has crossed 21.5. Now what is the pitch scale reading? Pitch scale reading is equal to, I write it over here, PSR is 21.5. Now you have to calculate HSC, head scale coincidence. For this example, the vertical line on the pitch scale coincides exactly with the 8th division on the head scale. So the head scale coincidence for n plus third oscillation is 8. Okay. Now TR2 will be equal to 21.5 plus HSC 8 into 0.01. This is equal to 21. Now I am going to explain how to determine the velocity of ultrasonics. The formula to calculate the velocity of ultrasonics is given by V is equal to mu into lambda. Unit is meter per second. Where mu represents the frequency of ultrasonics and lambda represents the wavelength of ultrasonics. The frequency of ultrasonics is same as that of the frequency of the RF generator. The frequency of the RF generator is given by 2 into 10 power 6 Hz. This is equal to 2 into 10 power 6 into lambda. The only unknown quantity in the formula to calculate the velocity of ultrasonics is lambda. So we have to determine the value of lambda. In order to determine the value of lambda, I am going to teach you a small concept. As you all know, when ultrasonic waves are being generated in the interferometer, they travel towards the reflector plate and it gets reflected back and it forms a stationary wave pattern. So stationary wave will always contain alternate regions of nodes and antinodes. Node is the point where the anode current is maximum and antinode is the point where the anode current is minimum. Now this is the enlarged version of the standing wave, where you can see a nodal point, an antinodal point, a nodal point and an antinodal and node. We all know the distance between two nodes or distance between two antinodes is given by d. So this d is equal to lambda by 2, or you can write lambda is equal to 2 into d. In order to find out the value of lambda, you need to find out the value of d. So what does this d represents? D represents the distance between two consecutive nodes or distance between two consecutive antinodes. So this distance between two nodes or two antinodes can be determined by moving the reflector plate towards the crystal. This can be done with the help of the interferometer. The distance between two nodes or two antinodes can be determined from this tabular column. So this table is used to determine the value of d. Since we are using micrometer to record the readings, the least count of the micrometer is given by 0.01 mm. So the first column is reading set of reading 1 and set of reading 2. The first column corresponds to the number of oscillations and this corresponds to the pitch scale reading in the micrometer. HSC corresponds to the head scale coincidence and TR corresponds to the total reading. The formula to calculate total reading is given over here, where TR is equal to pitch scale reading plus HSC into least count. So R2, again few more set of readings. We are going to repeat the same procedure, number of oscillations, PSR, HSC and total reading. Now the next column in the table is D is equal to R1 minus R2, where R1 is the total reading of R1 and R2 corresponds to the total reading of R2. The first reading we are going to start for N. So the reading for N corresponds to 21.5 is the pitch scale reading and head scale coincidence is 25. Now we are going to take readings in steps of 3 oscillations. For every 3 oscillations we have to take reading. So the next reading would be N plus 3. For N plus 3 the corresponding reading is 20.5 and 31 plus 3. N plus 3 plus 3 will give you N plus 6. For N plus 6 the corresponding reading is 19.5 and 37. Likewise, you have to repeat the same procedure till N plus 18. So that this particular column, you are going to complete this particular column. Now coming to the second column, that is R2. We have completed till N plus 18. Now you have to start from N plus 21. Okay. For N plus 21, the reading would be is 14 and 07. Similarly, N plus 21 plus 3 will give you N plus 24. That is 15 and 12. In a similar way, you take readings for 3 oscillations till N plus 39, so that you complete this portion of the tabular column. Now once you complete this particular portion of the tabular column, we can find out the value of D. So formula to calculate D is equal to R1 minus R2. So this R1 corresponds to the total reading of this particular column. and R2 corresponds to the total reading of this particular column. Now I will show you how to calculate the total reading for n. Total reading. The formula to calculate total reading is TR is equal to PSR. For the first reading, the PSR value is 21.5 plus HSC. The head scale coincidence is 25 into least count. Least count is 0.01. All units are in millimeter. So this is equal to 21.5 plus 0.25. Total reading is equal to 21.75. In a similar way, we have to calculate the total reading for n plus 21. So TR is equal to, for n plus 21, the peak scale reading is 14 plus the head scale coincidence is 0.7 into 0.01. This is equal to 14 plus 0.07. Total reading value is 14.07. Now what is the formula to calculate D? Before that we will write the value of TR1 and TR2. For TR1 it is 21.75 and for TR2 the total reading is 14.07. Now what is the next column? D is equal to R1 minus R2. D is equal to R1 minus R2. The value of R1 is 21.75 minus R2 is 14.07. Now if you subtract, you will get 7.68 millimeter. So I am going to write it as 7.68 into 10 power minus 3 meter or millimeter. Now what is the next column? Lambda is equal to 2D by n. D already we have calculated. What does this n represent? N represents the number of oscillations. For how many oscillations we calculated D? We calculated D for 21 oscillation. That is, we subtracted n plus 21 from n and hence the value of n is 21. Now we have to calculate the value of lambda. Lambda is equal to 2D by n. We already found out the value of D. What does this n represent? N corresponds to the number of oscillation. For this particular R1 minus R2, we calculated D for 21 oscillation. How 21? We subtracted n plus 21 from n. That is equal to n plus 21 minus n. So you get 21. So this 21 you have to substitute it over here. Now lambda is equal to 2 into D value is 7.68 divided by 21 equal to 0.731 into 10 power minus 3 meter. You should not forget this 10 power minus 3. All units are in millimeter. Lambda is equal to 0.731 into 10 power minus 3 meter. Now we can substitute the value is equal to 0.731. Now what is the final column? To find out the velocity of ultrasonics. V is equal to nu into lambda. Now the formula to calculate velocity is V is equal to nu into lambda. Nu is 2 into 10 power 6 and lambda is 0.731. This is equal to 2 into 10 power 6 into 0.731 into 10 power minus 3. The final answer would be 1.462 into 10 power 3 meter per second. This is the velocity of ultrasonic waves we have calculated for the first reading. Now you can record the value over here. You can write it as, instead of 1462 into 10 power 3, we can write it as 1462 0.62 meter per second. In a similar way, you have to do the calculations for the remaining set of readings. The average of the velocity calculated for all the 7 values is given as 1304 meter per second. Now we have calculated the velocity of ultrasonics as equal to 1304 meter per second. The final step is to calculate the compressibility of the given liquid. Compressibility is defined as the relative change in the volume to the change in pressure. Its unit is given as meter square per Newton. Now substituting the value, this is equal to 1 by V is 1304. Don't forget to square the value. It is V square 1304 square into density of the given liquid. The liquid we have taken in this particular experiment is kerosene. Density of kerosene is 830 kilogram per meter cube. So this is equal to 830. Now K is equal to, that is 7.085 into 10 power minus 10 meter square Newton inverse.
Dear students, now I hope all of you have a better understanding of determining the velocity of ultrasonics in given liquid medium and also adiabatic compressibility of the liquid. Why we need to know about ultrasonics? Everybody having a question in your mind. But the ultrasonics play an important role in the engineering fields in different areas. In particular, in mechanical, if you look at the industry, welding, cutting and drilling, all the things you can perform using high energy ultrasonics. So particularly the brittle materials, when you want to make a hole, you cannot use mechanical driller. You have to use only ultrasonic driller, wherein the basic principle itself is different. The particles made to hit, small particles are made to hit brittle material and the holes and cutting is done on brittle material. This is a different, a special approach. And next, coming to the medical field, we are able to find, using sonogram, we are able to find whether the fetus male or female, and to know the dynamic function of the heart, we use again ultrasonics. Lot of applications are there. And in another area, the mixing of immiscible liquids can be done, and we can produce protection of fish, we can enhance by sending ultrasonics. And the non-destructive testing, which is a very, very important area where the engineers are working without damaging the material. Even the material is of a room size, metal block, and wherein you have a microholes, by passing ultrasonics, by getting the signals from the receiving ultrasonic signals, you are able to find the fault without damaging it. So this is one of the interesting areas where you can think. If you people have questions, multiple choice questions will be given at the end of each experiment. So wherein you have to answer. And this is first question I want to know. Whether the velocity of ultrasonics in air medium at room temperature, is it remain the same? Is it similar to velocity of sound? Acoustic sound as what we hear, are the same or different? So I would like to, all of you, I would like to think about it and justify your answer. Thank you.